So, welcome everybody. I want to start by asking a question. What's a question that's intrigued me for a while? Why do so many people read self-help books, but so few act on the advice given? I think it's the same reason why many business leaders understand the power of purpose, the importance of articulating why their businesses exist, but few act on that insight. Many business leaders have read the wise words of books, of words containing books like Simon Sinek's Start With Why or David Hyatt's Do Purpose. Books that do a fantastic job of substantiating the importance of identifying purpose. I believe that these books are read, but rarely acted upon as intended. And increasingly, some businesses do little more than replicate what I'm starting to consider a modern day standard. These businesses articulate a founder's story, a superficial story, a lightweight expression of why they exist. They then promise that if you buy a product from them, they'll plant a tree in the Amazon rainforest. Job done, we're purpose driven. Don't get me wrong, I'm certainly not against planting trees in the rainforest, but I find this approach rather hollow. In my opinion, it completely misses the point. The point is that the value associated with articulating why your business exists is only unlocked when you act accordingly. I've worked in the marketing industry for about 25 years, and for about 20 years of that, I worked for Omnicom. I've seen agencies spend hours and hours creating beautiful visual articulations of why they exist. They produce coffee table books that don't look out of place next to the latest copy of Vogue. These agencies would mention why they exist in pitches most weeks, but really do very little to ensure their proposition becomes a reality. Why? Why do I think this is? Why is it difficult to act according to your proposition, the reason why you exist? I can only think it's because it's hard work. It requires lots of effort each and every day, and because we're all human. I believe that people don't act according to identified propositions because they're looking for security, not change. Security is comfortable and change is often difficult. They don't want to accept the state of things, the unpredictability of life. They therefore grasp onto concepts for security. To most, a proposition, the declaration of why business exists, is just another concept. It gives them and the people they're selling to a degree of security, justification for what they're doing, both selling and buying. But that's where they stop, with some fancy words in a pitch, on a page, on a website, a glossy coffee table book. They understand the concept, so they move on because this is the security that they were looking for in the first place. And by the way, prior to starting Journey Further, I used to be one of these people. I was once described quite accurately as being more like a lecturer than an MD. I was blinded by the superficial gloss I was creating. So what changed for me? Well, I believe I realized a very, very simple truth, that you need to do more than just articulate a few fancy words. You need to make every effort to act accordingly. You need to establish 3 core components to make a proposition a reality. First, you need a proposition that is deeply rooted in truth, a truth that resonates with you, your employees, your clients, and the industry. You then need values that help to inform how you should act. To help make our proposition, Journey Further's proposition, Clarity at Speed, a reality, we act according to 4 key values. We are open, we are immediate, we are pioneering, we are together. And last but not least, you need effort and day-to-day management to the values. You need to work really hard to try to ensure that the proposition is reflected in literally everything you do. So given this perspective, my personal point of view that we all need to work far harder to make deep-rooted business propositions a reality, I want to dig into our agency proposition to explain what Clarity at Speed is and how we leverage it to drive business success. I simply hope that this transparency will stimulate debate and help to create more proposition-led businesses, Journey Further included. So, what is Clarity at Speed? Well, It's just 3 words, but it's also the most powerful component of our agency. It's the reason we succeed, and it's the reason we fail. It's the past, it's the present, and it's the future. So clarity at speed, it's just 3 words, and it's the most powerful component of our agency. Why? Because it's the distillation of why we started the agency in the first place. From day one, we knew why we were creating this agency. We started Journey Further because we were frustrated with big agency life. We knew that most agencies were too bureaucratic, too slow, and lacked transparency. So in a professional way, we wanted to rebel. We wanted to challenge ourselves and the industry to take a different approach. And we believed we could be more open, more immediate, more pioneering, and more together than any other business. So in January 2017, Journey Further was born. So clarity at speed is the distillation of this story. It's our proposition, a declaration of why we exist. It's therefore a shorthand that exists and helps to keep our why, the reason we started the agency in the first place, square and center in the minds of those people that work at the agency. And what it then does is it helps to create a movement, not just an agency. About a year ago, there was a moment that really made me smile. I got wind of the fact that through a colleague that a competitor, well, somebody at a competitor agency, had called Journey Further a cult. Now, by definition, a cult is a system of religious veneration, a devotion directed towards a particular figure or object. And just to set the record straight, we're not a cult. So why did this expression make me smile? Well, because somebody outside the agency was recognizing just how strong our belief system is. They were trying to criticize what we were doing, but they were instead unwittingly reinforcing the fact that we've got something really special here. A team marching in the same direction, focused on the same proposition. Clarity at speed, it's the reason we succeed, and it's the reason we fail. I often share these words with the agency. We live by our proposition, we win, we don't, and we fail. We all know that life can be chaotic and at times all-consuming, particularly recently. For everyone, no exceptions. Therefore, to simplify, to really simplify to the extreme, what we need to do to achieve success becomes extremely useful. To have a constant point of reference that we can pull back to allows us to make decisions quickly and with confidence, despite the unpredictability. When asked about my role at Journey Further and what I do, I always think I've got 2 options in response to that question. Option 1, which is really the functional MD response. My explanation is I oversee all day-to-day operations of the agency, from client operations to HR. But I think the second, more interesting, and I would argue more accurate definition of what I do is that it's my role to ensure that every decision that I and the agency makes is run through the filter of clarity at speed. Is what we're doing open, immediate, pioneering, and together? If it is, let's do it. If it's not, let's run for the hills. Clarity at speed simplifies my role and what we do. If everyone questions their role from this perspective and acts accordingly, we'll win. If we don't, we'll fail. Simple, right? Well, yes and no. It's a simple articulation, but quite rightly a challenge to deliver against each and every day. Clarity at speed, it's the past, it's the present, and it's the future. Word of warning before I move on, there's some blatant self-promotion of the agency which will follow, which I guess was going to happen at some point in this presentation. It's the past. Well, from the start, clarity at speed has been the perspective that we've tried to apply to everything we do. A focus on clarity at speed has helped us make, therefore, the following important decisions. The decision to be open. We were the first Northern agency to sign up to ISBA's Data Transparency Code of Conduct. The decision to be immediate. We killed client service from day one and instead gave each and every one of our clients direct access to the most senior analysts, the people who are going to make the biggest difference on their business. We made the decision to be pioneering. We worked hard to cement our relationships with tech pioneers like Google, and as a result became a premium partner within 12 months. And we made the decision to be together. We built properties like the Journey Further Book Club and more recently the Journey Further podcast. Fantastic properties, so that instead of just talking about the importance of learning, we actually ensured that we pulled people together through shared learning. These important tenets of our business simply wouldn't have happened if we hadn't first and foremost focused on our desire to deliver clarity at speed. So it's the past, but it's also the present. Without a focus on delivering clarity at speed, I don't believe the following would have happened recently. We were listed in Campaign's top 100 agencies to work for, most importantly, as voted by our employees. And we were also listed as Adweek's fastest growing agency in Europe. These things simply wouldn't have happened without a focus on clarity at speed. Obvious, I know, but without clarity at speed, events like today wouldn't happen. And what I think is fantastic about an event like today, it's not just an expression of clarity at speed, but through the presentations, the discussions, and the subsequent feedback that we will get, today will help mold clarity at speed for the better, for the future. So clarity at speed, it's the past, it's the present, and as just mentioned, it's the future. The aspirations of the agency continue to grow. But whatever comes next, international expansion, a greater focus on CSR and diversity, clarity at speed will undoubtedly be the filter through which we look at and manage each opportunity. That's it for me. I hope I haven't taken too long, Nath. Thank you for listening. And finally, if anyone has any questions about the opinions that I've shared, any thoughts, any challenges, then please do get back to us. You can email me direct at matt@journeyfurther.com. Thank you, and I really do hope you enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you very much for that, Matt. No, I think a really great expression of the value that can be gained by really sticking to a purpose and acting on it. I have to now press you for your 15-second summary. If you could summarize in 15 seconds what you'd want people to take away from your talk, what would it be?
I think it's simply this. I think in order to be successful, you need to establish three core components. A proposition that is deeply rooted in truth, values that link to the proposition and therefore help inform how you should act, and finally, effort and day-to-day management to those values.